Well, hello, Kepler families. Welcome to another Teacher Live. And today we have Mrs. Tomoko Sanders. Tomoko-san, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, Tomoko is a Japanese teacher with us. And so it's an extra pleasure to be interviewing someone from our language faculty, our group of language teachers. I am a language teacher, and we have Latin and Greek and Hebrew and French and, of course, Japanese with Tomoko. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about how you found Kepler and how you came to the United States.
Mm, yes. So I found out that Kepler is from my friend. She was my roommate
Okay.
when she was living in Japan. We both living together for 4 years, and then she married us, so she had to go back to Japan. She go back to America. So we separate. But after that, we are still contacting each other, get to know how's the life together. We shared life
Right.
together. We prayed together. So it was good. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. So yeah, college buddies then, and
Yes, that's
and you
right.
both became teachers. That's great. Now, so you live in the United States now.
Right.
You're a Christian, so I would love to hear how about your growing up in Japan, how you became a Christian, and then how you ended up in the United States. And I know that's a lot, so just you
That's
know,
true. So I became a believer. Okay, when I was a little, I don't know anything about the Christian, anything. And then, so I went to Australia to study English. And after I came back, I wanted to study English more. I wanted to talk more. So I asked one of my friend, and then she's like, "There's a church you can learn English from there's a class at the church." So I was like, "Okay, I just gonna try and see." So I just went there,
hmm,
and then that's at the first I was like, "Oh no, religion, it's okay. I just wanted to learn English. That's all." But then later on, I had a little struggles or something, and I had a friends over there too, at the church too. And then my church friends really helps me a lot.
mm,
And I just wonder, it's like, wow, she's so helpful. And then why? So she's kind of like a notice, like something different that I've been seeing that I had that compared with my friends.
mm.
So I started talking with her, and then it's really something interesting. It's like talking about Jesus or something. I was like, what is that? And started really interested in that.
Huh.
So yeah, and then it just talks some more, and it's really something different. So my heart is so different, and then it's like, wow, I really want to know more Jesus, and I want to know more God. So that's how I become a believer.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I've been involved in many ministries to internationals in the past, including English lessons at churches. And
Hmm.
it's so great when a ministry like that is providing something that's concretely useful. It's great when they can hear that their work has an impact. But really, what made the difference for you was that Christians loved you and helped you when you had trouble.
Yes, that's right.
That's so cool. But now you live in the States.
Right.
Family brought you here, right?
Right, that's right. So I met I then later on there's missionaries came, and then there is a church in Los Angeles. So every most of a couple times I visited Los Angeles because I had a friend through the
Hmm.
missionaries, and at that time I met my husband, and then yeah, then I get married and then decide to I moved to America.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And here you are in Utah. Now
Yeah,
you
that's right.
mentioned, yeah. uh, you mentioned in your teacher profile that one of your hopes for your students as they learn
Mm,
Japanese is that they will take the gospel to Japan. Could you talk a little bit
mhm.
about that?
Right. Okay. So, as you can see, there's a lot of missionaries in Japan. Um, but at the same time, just like what they do is like a teaching English. And then some of our are just too busy teaching English, cannot really speak English, speak Japanese. And then some of the word is kind of like difficult to understand for Japanese, like English. It's like because some of the words that we don't know, we never
Yeah.
heard that. So so that's why I just kind of like want to help to the basic, and then just bring some stuff what students learn, and then bring some and then just share the gospel.
Yes.
There's a lot of way that we can that missionaries can share the gospel. I really believe.
Oh, absolutely.
Only, yeah.
And it's cool that you have this thought that of building something, right? It's not just that that people go, and Christians ought to go, but Christians also ought to equip each other to go. And so you want to equip students to be able to go themselves. And what you say about not really understanding, and many of the missionaries only speaking English. It strikes me that there are certain ideas or concepts that you have to hear in the language that your heart speaks. And so if you could have someone proclaiming the gospel in Japanese to a Japanese person, even if that Japanese person is fluent in English, that's powerful. Oh, I hope you're still there. Let's see. Uh-oh. Well, let's hope that she is able to come back. Hopefully we'll have Tomoko Sanders back with us shortly. And I hope that Carla Memot's comment is one that I can interact with. Let's see here. Other than language, what cultural issues should one be aware of? To successfully witness to a Japanese person. That is definitely a Tomoko Sanders question. So I will ask you all to be patient, and hopefully she will roll right back in. I was interested, though, in hearing her comment about proclaiming the gospel to the Japanese in Japanese. There is, as someone who has taught English abroad before myself, there is really no substitute for learning the language of the people that you're trying to speak to. There she is.
Sorry. Hi. Internet.
Oh, that's okay. It looks like everything's good now.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, Carla Memot has a question for you. Other than language, what cultural issues should one be aware of to successfully witness to a Japanese person?
Culture issue should one culture issue.
So if you're a Japanese hearing about Jesus Christ, what barriers do you put up?
I see what you mean. Okay, so there's a Buddhism. Maybe they're go to the Buddhist. Yeah. So that's the one thing is like yeah, that's one thing is that you have to be aware of it. It's like it's some of the thing is so similar in the Christianity. It's just be kind to each other, love one another or something. So it's like some of the people is like, oh yeah, I know about it or something. But and then especially God, we talks about Christians say it's about God. The Buddhism also say about God. It's same. But so for example, shrine, go to the temple. Okay, go to the temple.
Right.
We the Japanese people believe that there is a God. There is a God. But we try to explain there is no God. Okay, there's a burn the temple. What's gonna be? You think it's a God is dead? That's how we have to explain about that. So, and everything can be exist. God is exist everywhere.
Right.
It's a mountain God or something. So when you hiking, you see the shrine and the temples on the hiking trail.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
So when you're speaking in a culture, or you're speaking to a Japanese person about Christ, then it's almost like a judo move where, well, so I believe in God and God's, and so I see no
So it's,
problem, no conflict, and
mhm.
we're the ones proclaiming a God who makes exclusive claims about himself, a God who says he is the King, King of Kings, God of gods, Lord of
Mhm.
lords, and I think that's a difficult idea.
Yes, it is. And then now there is a Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is also God or something. And then it's like, what is that?
Huh.
That's their idea. So
Yeah.
it's yeah. But when you see that the Bible, it's more clear or so. And then we pray. The Christmas too. There's a celebration for the Christmas, but
Hmm.
the Jesus. We celebrate for the Jesus birth, but as a Christian, but in Japan, it's just for fun.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, and it's funny how
I don't
something like
know.
we have that problem here in the United States, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Everyone knows in their head that there's a connection between Christmas and
Right.
Jesus, but so many Americans, it's just for fun.
That's right.
Jesus is just going to get in the way of that. But that just means that we Christians need to celebrate even harder, even more.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Now,
Mhm.
about your Japanese class,
Yeah.
um, so you're planning on teaching early on in the term a couple of different forms of writing. I shouldn't say teaching. You're planning on introducing a couple of different forms of writing, hiragana and katakana. Please
Mhm.
forgive my pronunciation, but could, could you talk a little bit about those?
Okay, so we have a two. Well, actually, we have more than that. It's like a hiragana, katakana, kanji. So but the basic we I would like to teach a hiragana. That is, then you can read it. So, and then katakana also we needed to learn it because the katakana is came from is for the language from the foreign country, like a Jews or piano or something. That's all from a foreign country.
Right.
So that's a separation. That's a differences between hiragana and then katakana. And also we have kanji too, but if you include the kanji, it's gonna be a lot. But the basic, it's gonna be like the hiragana and the katakana. If you learn it, that if you can read it too, then you can just read. Uh,
Yeah.
and also, yeah, you
Now
understand.
the hiragana you could read because it's by syllables. Is that right?
Right.
Syllable sounds. Okay.
Zero sounds,
And then
yes.
kanji, you're not teaching because kanji is more of the pictographic idea, just of a symbol for a whole word. And
Yes,
yeah, okay. My understanding, tell me if this is correct, but my
yes, go.
understanding is that even for many Japanese, kanji is a very big thing, and that it's hard to study.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And
So
I don't.
no kanji for the beginning Japanese student.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You don't need to. Yeah, it's too big burden.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So what
I
else
don't
will
remember.
people? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to ask what else should students expect at the beginning of their Japanese class this coming fall?
Oh, just enjoy learning something foreign, the different language, and if something is like older differences.
Hmm.
The where comes in the end. Doko is yeah, it's the verb in the middle or something. It's like
Okay,
it's really different. So and yeah, so just a different order compared with the English. And
right.
then I just want to know that there is a different language, and it's really interesting. I
Yeah.
think
Well,
that's it.
speaking of really interesting, are there aspects of Japanese culture
Mhm.
that students will be able to study?
Right, that's true. Uh-huh.
Well, so
Yeah.
I'm actually asking. So, what things in Japanese culture will students be able to study? Food,
Oh,
customs.
I see. Yeah, there's a lot of custom, the culture you will learn it. So the at the beginning, it's mostly basic at the it's a polite word, we will learn it. But later on, there's a level. It's like when I talk with my friend, that's you don't need to use that one. It's like if you use a polite way, you feel like it's really distance between the friends.
Mm,
So there's a different way you can say this way or something. And also you will learn that when you speak with the stranger or something, it's going to be a more different way you can learn it. That you can say this way, and it's
mm.
really polite. There's a lot of level to the politeness, I guess.
Yeah. I imagine, and being able to see some
Yeah.
of that, and just be introduced to that would be very cool. In your teacher profile, you mention the idea of keigo.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, could you talk a bit about what keigo is?
Yeah, so the Keiko is mostly like talk with a stranger or a boss or someone who are above you, like the teacher or something. And then it's showing that you're the showing yourself is like, and it also make yourself it's a more polite person.
Hmm.
If you just talk like a friend's way or so, talk like a friend, and I feel like it's really that person's so rude. It's really showing that.
Yeah.
So that's the Keigo. It's when I teach Keigo, every time I feel sorry for the students. There's a lot of level, and I was
Yes.
like, okay. And then also, teacher, I should say it this way. No, you don't need to think too hard. Just this is a basic, and then if you add this, it's gonna be more polite. So that's how you
Right.
think.
Well, often those things are it's good. You need the student to know that it
Hmm.
exists, right?
Hmm.
You
That's
can
correct.
start practicing it
Right.
later, but they need to know it exists. In Spanish, there's so English is so informal. Spanish can be a little more formal. Pardon me. But some of that depends on the country you're from that speaks Spanish.
Mm.
So, like with my students, they have to be formal with me. I do not like you. You cannot be informal. I am your teacher,
Mm.
but and we have fun classes. But that's one thing. I am the teacher. You must be formal. But that's because it's inside me. I think
Mhm.
that way. There are other Spanish teachers who, oh, it's okay. It
Mhm.
just there are so many cultural things that feed into that. But I imagine every native Japanese is going to be formal with a teacher or with someone older.
And also, I just remember that as when you go to the restaurant, they're the talk with the customer, so which is how to be polite, and then which is keigo. So you will hear a lot, and then so that's why I wanted to teach them because as a knowledge, you will
Hmm.
hear a lot. So that's why I want to teach you, and also it's showing the Japanese culture. That the Japanese is so very polite. That's
Yes.
how we're showing the politeness, polite. So yeah, so I
Yeah.
just yeah.
Well, one of the things when I teach formality and informality in Spanish, I like it, and one of the reasons I like it is because it makes the student, because young men and young women are often they think about themselves a lot,
Mhm.
and that's not always good. It's natural,
Mhm.
but they're growing up, and as you're growing up, you need to learn to think about other people. And
Mhm.
that's one of the things I like about formality. I imagine that if I were studying Japanese, it would be an opportunity to consider others as greater than myself, which is
Isn't
biblical.
it? So isn't it? It's true. Mhm.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Well,
Mm, for sure.
I was wondering if what so we're talking about keigo and some of the customs and culture of Japan. What do you miss about Japan now that you live in the United States?
Yes,
Don't say everything.
no, it's not that. When I talk with my friends, we say it's like a food. We miss the food a lot. Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of the Japanese uh, own a restaurant here, so I could taste it, but it's just some of the food that I couldn't get. in America.
Hmm.
That's I really miss.
Yeah.
But
No,
thankfully, yeah, thankfully Utah has some Japanese restaurant, the Japanese market. So
that's true. You could be in Alabama, and then you would have no Japanese market.
that's true.
Yeah, I'm suffering through that right now because I am in Idaho. There are actually many Japanese in Idaho, but I'm
Mhm,
not Japanese.
mhm,
There are no Brazilians in Idaho. And
mm,
so I in other parts of the United States, I could buy food that I miss. I could buy Brazilian food and go to Brazilian restaurants. Here I cannot. And
mm.
it does make me kind of sad. So yeah, I get it. Yeah. Well, I was wondering as we close. I keep saying I was wondering as we close. I asked you before the class to make sure it was okay, but I would love for you to teach me how to count to 5.
Okay.
Are you willing to run me through that? I want to especially work on pronouncing it correctly.
Oh, cool. Let's see. It's okay. One is ichi. It's like ichi,
Ichi,
ichi.
ichi,
Yeah, there's a
ichi.
J.
Yeah, okay. Ichi.
Ichi. Okay, good.
Yeah,
And then ni is a ni. You know, there's a
okay. Oh yeah, okay. All right. I don't think I can get my knee up into the camera, but okay.
ni.
Ichi, ni.
Sounds fine. Sounds just fine. And
Okay.
san is, you know, the san.
Yeah. Okay.
San.
Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Ichi, ni, sun.
That's right.
Okay.
She. I'm not sure. She.
She.
Maybe
She.
C. Maybe C. A B C. C.
But C.
Uh huh.
C.
Maybe
Okay.
she. That's right. Each.
Ichi, ichi, ni, san, shi.
And go. Go.
Go.
Uh
Go.
huh.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Uh, ichi, ni, san, si, go.
Uh huh. That's right. There
Okay.
we go.
I think I can remember that. Cool.
Yeah, right. Cool. Easy,
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, and numbers, of course, are one of the first things you learn when you're studying a language. Those early numbers. So, ichi, ni, san, shi, si, go.
hmm
Wow.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did it. Yay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So this y'all is Tomoko Sanders, and you can find a link in the description below to her teacher profile and to her beginning Japanese course available this fall at Kepler. Tomoko, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you too.
And do stay on the line. We can talk afterwards. Goodbye, everybody.